All right. Oh, it's sneaking up. All right. Welcome to the Elk Season Podcast, Season 2, Episode 20.
20.
We are the Chambers Brothers. My name is Harold.
I'm David.
And today on the Elk Season Podcast,
I'm going to recap a camping trip my family took because it has some implications for some of the things we've talked about in terms of interacting with wildlife.
Yeah.
I've got a quick story about Mount Bora. I've got something about the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, and according to an article from this magazine I brought up last week but didn't talk about, they have an official whiskey sponsor.
Yeah.
Which
Okay.
I'm kind of excited
Have you?
for.
You're kind of a whiskey snob. Have you had that kind of whiskey before?
Yeah.
The kind of
Oh, yeah.
Is it a good elk whiskey?
We'll talk about it. We'll get to it.
All right.
I've got something about a bobcat and a guy who sleeps in a hammock. I was thinking of you when I saw that. And I'm hoping that you never get attacked by any animal in your hammock.
Yeah.
Because I'm also hoping to join you in your in a hammock. In my own
hammock adventures.
Yes.
Yeah.
Got some grizzly bears in the news.
I dove in.
It was hook, line, and sinker, and I knew it from the moment I saw that book. I go, he's probably going to get it on his way home from my house.
I had it by the weekend.
Yeah.
Because we drove to Salt Lake and I listened to it on the way.
Okay.
And I've been listening to it. So
the bear in the driveway.
Yeah.
Excited to hear your update on that.
Oh my God. I love it. I absolutely love it. All right.
So, but and a little bit more, but that's the gist of what we're getting.
We are only 47 days from elk season.
47.
It is. We are getting close. It is time to exercise. I found a new.
Smell that? It's elk season.
I found a new TikTok. It's like hunt, lift, eat. Right? So they like to work out and make food and hunt. So if you've seen my TikToks, you know I like to make food.
Yeah.
I don't know about that working out bit, but
it's overrated.
It's overrated. No, I work out a lot, and I work out specifically so I can be comfortable in the woods. The mountains will take everything from you.
Yeah,
they will take it from you. And so if you're not prepared, man, you're gonna hurt.
Yeah, and we're going hiking this weekend.
Yeah, and I know I'm gonna hurt from that.
And we're gonna be hiking on one of the hottest days we've had this year so far. At least down in the valley here in Twin Falls, it's supposed to get up to 106. Boise's supposed to get up to 107.
Yeah,
and we're gonna be up somewhere where it's gonna be around 90s, 94. Ish. And heat exhaustion is a real thing. So
very serious.
We have a plan to get out early.
Yeah,
and it's not meant to be a long hike. But there's the hike up is the arduous part, and luckily, we're just going to get out there early, and I think the rest of it's all downhill basically. But and I don't have.
Depends on how far that water bottle washed down.
Yeah, and I look, I have no, and I've prepped my son that look, we may not find this water bottle.
Yeah, we may not.
But because he was 10.
Yeah.
And it was a hard, long hike. And he was really upset about having lost them. He's asked me every year. So I'm really glad to give him an opportunity to go see if we can rectify this thing.
It'd be really cool. I'm going to place a camera while we're up there as well.
Okay.
So maybe 2. I don't know if I'll have time to swing around. I would really like to put one in Ripper Pass.
Okay.
I don't know if we're going up there. We're not. Not this trip.
Okay. Are you? Ripper Pass. I was thinking... Yeah, so I'm
Ripper Pass.
I was thinking.
So in our normal the lounge, is that what we call it? The lounge? My normal place for the trail cam?
Oh yeah, the lounge, yeah.
The lounge. And then somewhere over in the Ripper. So I just want to see where they're moving through.
So we're gonna go up to the plateau and just head straight down to the lounge. Is that your idea? And then we can go up from there?
Yes. Actually, I would actually work all the way back to the plateau and ride the ridge up because that hillside gets so steep coming up. So I would say
that's a good call.
Yeah, I would say I could go place the camera. Maybe we take a break. Maybe get fill up some water, come back, and then stay on Elk Ridge.
Yeah, that's
all the way to the top because man, that is a miserable SOB.
We've come down that hillside. Yeah. So no, and
it's a short trip, right? It's like 3-4 minutes to walk that distance back to the plateau.
No, in my mind it's always longer than it really is. But it's such the elk have that landscape figured out. This is an elk trail.
Oh, jeez, yeah,
and it's an elk highway.
Yeah.
So
anyway, that's. I want to hear about your trip. You went into Gold Country.
Well, I went to a place that we used to frequent because we used to have some access to gold claims up there. And it was the South Fork of the Boise River.
Yeah.
and we weren't able to get to the spot that we normally. I mean, I've only camped in one camping spot up there
Right.
and every time I went up there.
Right.
But campers have come out in droves, particularly
Way
since the
pre
pandemic.
2020 when we did that.
Yeah, and so there, I anticipated the spots were going to be full,
Yeah.
and they were. So we found a different location. It was on the South Fork of the Boise River, where it meets the Big Smoky Creek.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, well, I have a pan. I'm not there to take any gold, but I wanted to show my boys how to pan for gold. And I've never taken that opportunity. I don't know if there were claims. So in all due respect, I wasn't trying to disrespect anybody, but it was just trying to get an experience for my kids just so they could see and just toss everything back. But on the South Fork of the Boise River, where it meets Big Smoky Creek, we did not find any gold.
Yeah.
So the source gold is on the Big Smoky Creek. So if you're familiar with that area, or if you're looking to go find or stake a claim, stay away from that junction of the South Fork where it joins Big Smoky Creek, and just stay on Big Smoky Creek.
Yeah.
But anyway, one speck, it was cool, and the kids were like, "Yeah, I could see it." I mean, it wasn't huge, but it wasn't tiny. But you know what?
You could tell it's gold.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what matters.
And I think my youngest boys were fascinated with what I kept telling them, because they're like, they would do it, and they're like, "Do I have gold? Do I have gold?" And I go, "Well, they see stuff that's shiny," and I go, "Well, cover it with your hand, cover it with a shadow." And they're like, "Well, it's not shiny anymore." I go, "That's right, because if it doesn't shine with your shadow, it's not gold." It's just a simplification, right? But for them,
Right.
So when I actually found that speck of gold, I was able to show them exactly what that meant, and they remembered, because I had told them so many times.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That they came over and we're in the shade, and that was my youngest boy. He goes, "Dad, that is a piece of gold," because I stood over this and my shadow covered it, and I could still see it glistening.
Oh, nice.
I was like, "So there you go."
Did they go through a lot of pans? Did they?
Xandrick did, the youngest one. He was really interested in doing, but he was, I kind of showed him the method. It's really just shake down, shake to the edge, and then get rid of the light
Shake
stuff.
down, shuffle off, shake down, shuffle off.
So
it's a long process when you're a kid. Those pans are heavy.
Yeah, and they figured it out pretty quick. And so he was just kind of going around the shoreline and just kind of getting stuff without any scope, but it was more about process.
Right.
So he knew what he was doing. And if there was, he wasn't getting stuff with a lot of black sand, but he was getting the process that whatever he was getting the black sand out of it. So
oh, nice.
there was that. So
good. That's just good practice.
Just 7 years old.
Yeah. I don't know why we never panned for gold in our backyard in Helena. We should have.
I know.
We should have. There's probably gold there.
Yeah.
There's probably more than on the South Fork of the Boise.
Yeah.
I mean, really, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So anyway, all right.
But we camped in a really cool spot. It's actually a road that was closed. So there's a camp spot right off the main road, and then there's a road that goes back to two more camping areas. And if you look on Google Earth, you'll see tons of campers. Like, it's ridiculous how many RVs and stuff they would pack in there. But the road was closed because the washout of the creek in the spring washed into the road back there, so it's too narrow. And if you look on Google Earth, you can see where it was about 10, 15 feet wider.
Wow.
And it was literally tearing into the road. So if you bring a big rig back there, you could likely end up ditching that thing in the creek.
Did you have your trailer, or you just loaded up a car?
We loaded up our trailer.
Okay.
So we had all our gear. We were fairly comfortable for the most part. And it's a handy little trailer, it's a little workhorse for us to do all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
But anyway, while we were there, the first night, I can't remember where everyone was at, but I was sitting down. So my wife and the two younger boys, I think it was, they went across to where all these fishermen kept showing up, and there's this beautiful place. So it's where the two rivers come together, and there's this deep gouge from all the water hitting. So this deep pool that just looks, it's so pretty. Like whether you're fishing in it or just there looking at
it. If you want to throw rocks, if you want to swim.
It just is so cool. We kept seeing fishermen down there on the other side of the bridge from where we're at, because there was a bridge right next to camp.
Yeah.
And so while I'm sitting down, I was doing something. I think I was playing Sudoku on my phone or something.
Sure.
And then I look up, and there's this deer like 15, 20 yards across from us. And it was coming in. Like, it's going to come say hi. It's going to like, "Hey, what are you doing? Hey, there's more of you people."
It sees you. It knows you're there. It's relaxed, and it's coming your way.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it made me go, well, this is kind of cool, because like, it's wildlife. But I'm like, after a few minutes of interacting, and me and my oldest boy were like taking selfies because it's getting in so close. And so it's not the picture I posted it doesn't do it justice for how close it was actually getting.
Right.
But it kept getting in closer, and I started to realize, me trying to get a selfie with this thing is part of the problem.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
And so on the first,
you make sure I have a copy of that selfie, right?
What?
You can make sure I have a copy of that
Yeah,
selfie?
it's
okay.
in the folder.
Oh, okay, good. Okay.
And so the dog eventually growled, but we had to put the dog on a chain because I'm like, I know we had our golden retriever with us, and she was fabulous to have. She did fantastic.
Yeah.
She's just, she wouldn't wander too far away from us. We can go anywhere except for, I know what she's like with critters in the woods.
Yeah.
Even though we've never been in the woods with her, the way that she goes after groundhogs in our backyard and birds,
Yeah.
she's killed both.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, all right.
Viciously.
Yeah.
Viciously.
So-
Without mercy.
Without mercy.
Yeah.
And
Very
she-
sweet to humans. Golden retriever sweet to humans.
Yeah.
Sweet as can be.
Soft bite,
Yeah.
except when it comes to wildlife.
But knows how to put it on, knows how to go
Yeah.
100%.
She got a little taste of some groundhogs this year and thinks she wants a deer. So we had to kind of hold her back.
Wow.
But I didn't want her chasing the deer, but I did want that deer to know that the dog
Yeah,
was there.
absolutely.
And so the deer did take off when Lyra got upset and was growling, and the deer said, okay, I don't want to be here. But the deer came back that same night.
Oh, dang.
So we had to leave Lyra on
Yeah.
her chain all night. And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, this isn't good. But the deer was getting even closer.
yeah. Wow.
So I did my best impression of a Sasquatch.
Yeah.
And I yeah,
From the historic files of Sasquatch,
yeah.
we know how to act like Sasquatch.
Yeah.
Anyways,
So-
how did that go?
Oh, that deer is gone. That deer,
How does a Sasquatch? What's a Sasquatch do? What was your impression of a Sasquatch?
well, it's
Other than you just standing over me?
I can't really mimic it here. I'll break something.
All right. I'm just teasing. I'm just teasing.
It's a proprietary thing. I can't. It's legally I can only do it when no one's looking because
Yes.
it's a Sasquatch
Got to
thing.
pull out the old Sasquatch on me, huh? Okay.
Anyway, so I decided, it's better to keep the deer. Like I can't help but wonder how many campers have been in these spots, and this deer and some more than one
Yeah.
deer possibly
Yeah.
coming in, and it's like, oh well, everybody's calm, cool, and collected. I know it's really cute, and I know it's really cool to see animals
Right.
up close like that, but it's
Yeah.
not really, in my understanding, that healthy for the system. It's like putting,
Some people want that interaction. They want that interaction. That's why people go to Yellowstone. That's why people in Yosemite ask where the bison are. That's why people go to Yellowstone and want their money back if they don't see bears. They want the interaction.
Yeah.
They want that. And when you go into nature, when you go into camping, part of me wants that too.
So I don't disagree. I'm there
Yeah.
as well, but I also recognize, and
Yeah.
I'm proud of myself for recognizing that, like, I've got to have boundaries with the
That
wildlife.
deer is poisoned.
Yeah.
I mean, that deer has human issues.
Yeah.
A grizzly bear with such issues would not be treated as well.
Right.
But people still want those interactions.
Yeah.
With bears and wolves and bobcats
Yeah.
and moose and dangerous animals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the deer came back the next night,
Okay.
and the dog was really, really tired, was asleep.
Okay.
She was snoring
Okay.
behind me, and I was sitting in my camp chair, and I could have reached down and grabbed her collar. And
Right.
this is, I don't know if it's that same deer that came back. It seemed like it was smaller, so I think it was a different deer, and it came from a different
Wow.
direction.
Okay.
But it came around the corner like, "Hey, there's people here. You got any corn?" I don't know what it was asking for. But
Right. I mean, yeah, something. Right. People probably throw stuff out there like corn on the cob or
And
something.
and
to
this deer, I think, was different because it came in, but then it stayed on the road, and then it started going off, and I was like, the dog's asleep, and the deer is going the other way on its own. So just leave it unfeathered here, and all of a sudden, everybody but me is yelling for our dog because she had just picked her head up a little bit and saw that this animal was on the road and jumped up and started after it. So I thought we were going to lose our dog for a minute, but she actually really was too tired because the deer, there are steep hillsides there, and this deer
Dude.
took off one of the steep hillsides.
bound. The way they can bound is disgusting.
So, but
Stupid
out of
deer.
precaution, we put the dog
Yeah.
back on the darn chain, and I didn't want to have to do that, but at the same time, letting the deer become deer again.
Yeah.
If you
yeah.
will.
Yeah. Please don't feed any animals, any bears, yeah.
And then, but we did go on a small hike, and I'll just the last thing about that trip, other than whoever was there before us and left a big stack of firewood. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I left a little bit too. I brought some paid for stuff, but it was really cool. We had
Yeah.
enough firewood the whole time we were there. But we went on a little hike and we saw something I haven't seen very often. I've seen toads in I guess Montana.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen in Idaho. And we came across what's called a western toad.
Okay.
It's got a light in the picture I have. It's like a yellowish stripe down its back.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just a cool looking creature. And,
Nice.
And somehow the dog didn't touch those. It even stepped on one. We were on this hike and the dog stepped on one of these toads and made it move, but was like oblivious that it even stepped on one. It
Wow.
was weird. So, but a good time. It's good to
Cool.
get out, good to kind of relax
Yeah.
and just chill. And
Yeah. Now, Idaho in the summertime is a beautiful, beautiful and fleeting thing.
yeah,
It's so nice. It's so comfortable. And it doesn't last very long at all.
and even though we were next to a dirt road and
Yeah.
there are side by sides going by every hour at least 10.
Oh, really?
Just all the time. seemed like.
Wow.
The dust wasn't too bad.
Okay.
It was still like, we can dig this. But Idaho.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Bora real quick.
Yeah. Yeah, you had something from Bora. Now, we've climbed Mount Bora a couple times.
Twice.
I know there's elk up Bora, not where we hike. Much further down.
Mount Bora
Yeah.
has long been considered to be 12,662
62.
feet in elevation, despite reports after the 1983 earthquake that it rose by a foot.
Oh, I heard it rose by 8 or something. Okay, anyway.
So anyway, a group organized a LiDAR project in Idaho.
Okay.
And just earlier this year, and they measured the U.S. Geological Survey released the Idaho LiDAR data to the public.
Okay.
The results put Mount Bora at 12,666
Okay.
feet.
Ooh, really? Okay.
So we can add 4 feet to our actual elevation.
12,666.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay.
Anyway,
Wow. All right. Right on.
so how the article goes on to explain that it'll be a long time before that really changes in most of the official books and maps and stuff. But
right.
at the same time,
Official USGS data
yeah.
puts it up 4 feet. Okay, cool.
So
You heard it here first, folks, on the Elk Season podcast.
If you were at the top of Mount Bora, add 4 feet to your
Yeah.
accomplishment.
Yeah. That's a step ladder. That's a whole step ladder, dang it.
Yeah.
All right.
I can reach the cookie jar.
Very cool. That is the Lost River Range. Mount Bora is the highest mountain in Idaho and is obviously the highest mountain in the Lost River Range. And those mountains are something else. Are really something else. I mean, the pass you can get to, if you go through Mackay to Chalice, you go over a pass.
Yeah.
So there's the Snake River drainage on one side and the Salmon River on the other.
Yeah.
And
That's a beautiful drive down either side of that.
oh man, there's like no trees, but the mountains roll out.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so pretty. Yeah.
And I always regret not stopping more on those kinds of drives. Like I just drive and I go, oh, it's so pretty, I should stop. And then I
know.
don't.
I know. Same
And there's-
here. Same here. And you think I should stop and just take a moment.
Yeah.
Just one little moment. Yeah, well, you should. And maybe you will someday. But, right? The attitude sometimes when I'm driving is A to B. There's no,
No in between.
A
I'm
point
getting
one.
to my destination.
it's A to B. Hey, it's A to B. I'm a dad. I got a destination in mind. I'm going to beat my time from last year. Right? I mean, that's, it's
Yeah.
just dumb. So anyway,
Let's talk about Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation.
yeah.
Announced, it was actually just in January of this year
Okay.
that they announced that Pendleton Whiskey is their official whiskey.
Shut up.
I know, right?
Shut up.
I know.
That was one of my most viewed TikToks. You know what? That Pendleton whiskey, I think is still as full as I packed it out of there. Because I don't drink a lot of whiskey, but I brought Pendleton whiskey. That was you. You were with us.
Yeah.
You were with me. We were 5 miles in. If
Yeah.
we were in an inch, we were in 5 miles. We chilled it in the creek.
Yeah.
We had a couple sips each. We took a good afternoon nap.
Yep.
Thank you, Pendleton.
And so I just thought that was really cool.
That's awesome.
Because,
Yeah.
So,
well, I know. I tell you all the time. Pendleton's out of Oregon,
yeah.
and I tell you, there's more elk in Oregon than either Idaho or Montana.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I keep forgetting because it's a Canadian style whiskey. So I'm like, it comes out of Canada, but it's right here.
Interesting.
The oak barrel aged drink is made with glacier-fed spring water from Oregon's Mount Hood.
Yeah, yeah.
So I will update my data set internally, and
All right.
it's from Oregon, which I like even better.
Yeah.
So anyway, just a cool connection because
I knew it was from Oregon, and that's why I brought it elk hunting. I didn't know it was ever going to be connected to the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation.
Yeah,
hey, right on. It was a good pick.
Hey, we
right on.
We could sense.
Maybe I'll pack that same stupid thing in 12 more miles because it's a glass jar too.
Yeah, they have the plastic ones.
I don't care. I don't care. It doesn't chill the same. It doesn't chill the same, baby.
It is different.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Yeah, I got it in the jar.
Because I brought a small plastic one up to South Fork of the Boise River.
Yeah,
and it doesn't seem the same.
No,
out of a plastic bottle.
Oh, glass.
It packs easier.
Yeah,
but it didn't taste the same.
All right.
It's my snobbery here.
All right.
Hey, I don't really have much information. It was just a headline. We've already talked about it.
Okay.
Man in hammock attacked by bobcat.
Yeah.
And it was actually a camp leader.
Okay.
So I hope he's okay. But it was in Connecticut. So.
Okay.
Bobcat in Connecticut. Watch out for them. They like people in hammocks, apparently.
Interesting. I wonder what led to, what led to that. Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll start segueing towards your stuff, but before we get there, because I'll bring up bears.
Okay.
So
be an easy segue.
Yeah. I found a headline last week talking about where Montana was like putting stuff in place for grizzly bears being delisted.
Yes.
And then I came across this article since then, and this is from Outdoor Life. And I swear I just need to get a membership because I have actually really liked the stuff I find from them. But the headline is "The clock is ticking as the feds grapple with delisting grizzly bears." And they talked about 3 states applying for the delisting. So that would be Montana, Idaho, and Wyoming.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but in the article it talked about Idaho was rejected, and it didn't really explain why, or I don't remember if it explained why, to be honest. But because of that, though, Idaho was let go, but Montana and Wyoming it's in the feds' hands. Like, so they have to make this decision.
Yeah.
So we'll see what that leads to.
Yeah. I'm actually right to the point of the book, Grizzly in the Driveway. Grizzly Bear in the Driveway? Grizzly in the Driveway. At the point of the book, Grizzly in the Driveway, where they're talking about exactly that.
Okay.
Right? How is a judge supposed to know? How do the biologists say what an ecosystem is? What is the size of an ecosystem? And how does the bordering ecosystems affect the long-term goals? So if you have an ecosystem like the Yellowstone ecosystem with X number of bears, and you have an ecosystem next door to it with 0 bears, right, that's going to have effect. But if we have another ecosystem close by with lots of bears, well, that's also going to affect that ecosystem. And so it's an ecosystem is surrounded by ecosystems, right? And so the judge is like, look, if you can't put a finger on exactly where these numbers need to be, because when Lewis and Clark came through this country, they talked about bears in the Missouri Breaks.
Yeah.
They talked about them in the plains, which is really where they belong. They didn't see it. They didn't have many sightings in the mountains. Not to say they weren't there.
Right.
You just don't see them in the mountains because they're behind a tree. Right. In the grasslands, you could really see a lot. Mm-hmm. And there was enough kill. There was enough river kills. Like I said, the number one reason for death on the Oregon Trail was drowning during a river crossing. Same for all the animals.
Yeah, that's
all of them. And grizzly bears run the rivers looking for corpses, man.
It makes sense. Or an opportunity to jump, like that crazy video out of Yellowstone with that elk and that bear, that grizzly.
Yes. Yeah. Was that a calf?
No, there was the bull elk.
Oh, that's right. The drowning.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was
brutal.
Nature is brutal.
Like, even I was like,
and that was about
is this rated R?
That was about as humane as a death as you can expect in the wild.
Yeah.
That is about as happy as it gets.
Yeah.
It's terrible. The way this book is describing how these grizzly bears kill cattle. because cattle and grizzly bears can run about the same speed. And but grizzly bears are so heavy and so strong, they reach up and they bite the back of the neck and pull it down at that speed.
Wow.
And they tumble end over end, and they let go, and those cows tumble end over end. Just getting all busted up in the process. Those are, I mean, but that takes practice.
Yeah.
And some of the grizzly bears have practice. All right, I want to talk about this book, Grizzly Bear in the Driveway. I'm only on chapter 7, so I'm definitely going to talk more about it in the weeks to come and in the many years to come.
I'm sure.
I know you will, because there's some books that I need to read that he's mentioned that I have not read yet.
Oh.
Night of the Grizzlies.
Okay.
Night of the Grizzlies is a very important story. I have not read it yet, but let me tell you the story.
Oh, do
right?
tell.
I know. Let me summarize or paraphrase or do the best I can to help you understand grizzly bears in a larger context out west. Because we lost them in California in 1922, Arizona 1921, Utah 1923.
Wow.
Everything's gone. You could hunt grizzly bears in Montana until 1991.
Holy crap.
In the Bob Marshall.
Wow.
Until 1990.
Wow.
I
was
know.
in there in 1995.
Yeah, you were.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was legal to hunt grizzly bears in Montana until I was 19.
Wow.
Is that nuts?
It's pretty awesome. It's also sad at the same time.
So it is. But yeah, our relationship with bears is really weird because we get Yellowstone and we have bears. We see them. And in the 70s, there were all these bear encounters. They didn't have the don't feed the bears policy.
No, the cartoons from like Disney were showing everybody at the bears at the campsite and everybody dancing around. And it's like, and in fact, Yellowstone used to have promotions, I think, if I remember right, of like, come mess with the bears. Like there used to be an open bear policy.
Yeah.
It seemed like back in the day.
It absolutely was. There was a night in a single night in 1968, 2 female campers were gored and killed by 2 different bears.
Wow.
In the same night. What happened? 1968, bears became the enemy and they went on a full slaughter.
Wow.
Until 1975 in Montana, when they received federal protection. And you could still hunt them in the Bob Marshall.
Okay.
Until 91.
Wow.
I know it's a crazy story. It's a crazy story. But these 2 women. So what happened? What happened in 1968? And I think this is my hypothesis. This is what the story is going to tell. Because this is kind of the picture that the grizzly in the driveway painted, right? Because these were both employees of the park, of Glacier, right?
Oh.
They were cleaning up after a long summer.
Okay.
Bears habituated to camping food.
Yeah.
Show up to a normal place to get food.
And it's all gone.
Day after day after day, and they're hungry.
Yeah.
It's time to close the park.
Yeah.
Go clean up the campsites. They send the employees out to clean up the campsite. That's what I think I'm gonna hear in Night of the Grizzlies.
Okay, I'd be curious about the follow up.
I know too, because that's what's in my head. I'm sure I'm gonna learn a lot more. But this led to some very interesting myths about grizzly bears. Sure, you can guess one. Don't camp when you're on your cycle. Your menstrual cycle. Women shouldn't camp. Bears it's silly.
Yeah.
It's silly. It's not true.
And that myth even came up with somebody hypothesizing that about the guy and his girlfriend up in Alaska.
Yes. And it comes from this night in 1968. And so the relationship we have with grizzlies is really strange. Would you just do me a favor, guess how many grizzly bears you think there are currently in the greater Yellowstone ecological system?
200?
600.
Okay.
There are currently about 600.
I've been watching a lot of Prices Right,
That's okay.
so I just wanted to bid without going over.
Okay, I want to do another guess. I just want to do another guess because I wasn't guessing this number either. How many grizzly bears do you think there were when they received federal protection in 1975?
40.
500.
Oh,
Yeah.
I went way lower.
That's okay. That's okay.
$1.
Well,
I just went way low. I don't know, but this is good information. to
yeah,
know.
it's interesting
because
right? What is it now?
it's only 100 more versus when they were. That's what you're saying. If there's 600 now,
No. I'm sorry. Total number of grizzly bears south of the Canada line.
was
in 1975 is 500.
Gotcha.
Currently,
Gotcha. Okay,
Currently, in the Yellowstone ecosystem, there are 600.
600. Okay.
Yeah.
I somehow dropped the context.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. So they've and they're talking about these. They're talking about the grizzly bears getting back to the plains. I talked to you about Fort Peck today.
Yeah.
Fort Peck, if you don't know, one of the greatest fisheries on the Missouri. The Missouri River is an incredible river.
Yeah. The headwaters up in southwest Montana
is so rugged and so beautiful and just so
and
amazing.
it ends up dumping into the Mississippi.
Yeah.
The water in southwest Montana ends up in the Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
Yeah, and it goes through one of the first great fisheries on the Missouri is I believe Townsend is where the first time the water comes to a stop at Canyon Ferry Lake.
Yeah.
The first time the Missouri water ever comes to a stop is there at Canyon Ferry Lake, and that lake and that area around Townsend is just one of the most incredible like estuaries ever, man-made, but it is just incredible. But another one along the way is deep in Montana.
Yeah.
Deep past population
Northeast.
centers. Way past population centers, and it's called Fort Peck, and it's big. And all the guys in Montana, when I traveled around Montana doing sales, all those guys would be like, yeah, we're going to Fort Peck. Yeah, and they would take their expensive boats and their expensive trailers, right, all the way up to Fort Peck.
Okay.
And it's so unpopulated, and they slay walleye, some big walleye.
I almost want to say like going to Fort Peck from Helena, where we grew up, would be kind of like going from
here to Helena, like 6 hours.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But it's very not populated.
Yeah.
The low population density, and it is the ancestral homeland. That's where Lewis and Clark wrote the most about grizzly bears, was in the Missouri Breaks.
Wow.
So Fort Peck to Great Falls is sort of, if I throwing too much of an envelope around it, but that's the Missouri Breaks.
Okay.
Is sort of where they roll down, and they're just endless little tributaries.
Yeah.
That just so you just go along the river, and it just rolls, and there's gully after gully after gully after gully. And that's what the bears like, man. That's where the antelope die. That's where the elk drown. That's where the bison fall through the ice in the wintertime. So that is typically where they are. And just the natural expansion, just the natural growth is pushing those bears there. Now, another thing I learned was about Ethel. You and I talked about a grizzly bear that traveled 2,000 miles.
And was following the apple harvest or something?
No, she wasn't.
That was never mind.
No, we thought she might be because I read in that article she was frequenting apple orchards.
Gotcha.
But they caught her frequenting an apple orchard without taking any apples.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Because they know this is not the harvest. They will go to certain drainages, and they will only look under rocks for moths, and they will not fish.
Wow.
They just know it's not the sea. But when they come back through, they will fish.
Okay.
Really neat, really interesting story that these grizzly bears are painting. But a grizzly bear's home territory, maybe 30 square miles for a female.
Yeah.
30 square miles.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Very small compared to a 2,000-mile trek.
Yeah.
Right? What was she doing? And she lost her collar. We're done getting data on her, which is really unfortunate.
Yeah.
2,000 miles. Now, a big boar will have a home territory of about 200 to 400 square miles.
Yeah, that sounds more like a mountain lion type behavior.
And, well, they've set up genetic traps to get some of this fur.
Yeah.
And so they set up, these scratching post trees that they have, and they've collected so much data on some really big boars that just happen to be the dad or grandfather of some 70 other grizzly bears in Montana. Really, really interesting painting that story. But when we talked about Ethel, we talked about this long trip she had.
Yeah.
Like it was something other grizzly bears do.
Yeah.
It is not.
Okay.
It is not. She was a big outlier.
Okay.
They were very, very surprised
And probably confused.
about all her activity.
Yeah.
She was. They have tracking data of her in some downtowns.
It was probably because they put the track collar on her and she's like, I'm going to mess with these guys. I'm going to totally screw with your biological data here, folks.
They have the lat and long of her on the outskirts of Coeur d'Alene, Idaho.
Yeah.
No
Jeez.
sightings. No sightings. Tracking data, yes. No sightings.
Wow.
How do you like that? Sleep well, campers.
Stick it to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jeez.
And multiple downtowns.
And they talk about this in the book?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Multiple downtowns of like Wallace, Idaho, Kellogg, Idaho.
Oh, wow.
No sightings. Nobody
Holy
knew
crap.
she was there if they didn't
And
have the
Wallace
data.
is where the freeway
Yeah.
is, because we drove through
It's
there.
I-90. It's I-90.
Yeah.
They specifically talk
Jeez.
about how many times she crossed I-90. She crossed it in Idaho multiple times. She comes back into Montana, across the Bitterroots.
Wow.
She crosses it again and then goes back to Coeur d'Alene like she forgot something.
I want a shirt with
Yeah.
a picture of Ethel on it.
Ethel, yeah.
I got some props for Ethel.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah. So I learned a lot more about her trip, which was incredible.
Yeah.
And I, just like some elk have different attitudes in the
Yeah.
woods.
Yeah.
Right? Some bears are just going to have different attitudes and different habits. And you think, gosh, I don't know people that can just pick up and move their whole life. Just every time they go,
Yeah.
hey, I found a new place to live, and they move.
What-
I don't know how they do it, but
Yeah.
they do, and they're happy.
yeah. What, nomads? Yeah.
No, I don't know.
That's
Just
what- that's the-
adventurers.
Well, a nomad is somebody who just travels around.
No, those idiots live in vans. I'm just kidding.
Volkswagen vans.
Yeah, those idiots. No, I'm just jealous. I'm just jealous. I wish I could live in a
Here.
van down by the river. That's all I ever wanted. Anyway, so I'm into chapter 7. The story of the grizzly bear is really, really fascinating. They talk about one guy who managed to kill, and these are some of the legends. So they
Okay.
bring us up to speed. Here are some of the legends, and here's the truth behind them. Because one guy was packing around a grizzly bear skull, wouldn't even fit in a bowling ball bag,
Wow.
right? With a hole behind its eye socket
Okay.
from a .22 caliber pistol.
Whoa.
And the guy who killed it was carrying around his skull.
Wow. Yeah, that's
It was a last resort, obviously. It was a last resort.
and it was a very lucky shot.
Oh, he hit it. He hit it so many times. So lucky. So lucky. He hit it and they bounced off like they tickled him.
Yeah.
They bounced off like they tickled him. One went into his eye, it passed his orbital socket
Yeah.
and into his brain.
Thank goodness.
With
I
a
guess for his
22.
safety, but yeah. it is.
Yeah. Another guy killed a grizzly bear with a knife.
Oh, I see where this is going.
This is a
Tristan.
true story.
It's about Tristan,
It's
isn't it?
not. It's
Just get
not.
Tristan's a fictional character.
But I heard those stories growing up.
Yeah.
And I know I told you that.
Yeah.
I know I told you that. The story of Tristan in
Legends of the
Legends
Fall.
of the Fall. Where the legend is a grizzly, a human being and a grizzly bear have an encounter
Yeah.
at some point in time. And the young man takes that grizzly's claw.
Yeah.
And later in life, he finds that grizzly bear and he wants the rest of that grizzly bear and he has a chance to kill him
Yeah.
and he doesn't
Yeah.
because there's just too much of a history there. There's too much of a bond there and he doesn't kill the grizzly bear. I couldn't believe it happened in Legends of the Fall.
Yeah.
I'm watching this like, oh my gosh, I've heard at least 3 guys tell me exactly the same thing happened to their Uncle Jim.
Yeah.
I mean, all 3 Uncle Jims, right?
But it's rooted in a little bit of truth.
well, here's what happened.
Okay.
Some guy, so a rancher, right, who's worried about bears but doesn't have too many issues. Here's something going on, and this is back when every flashlight you had to hit, right, and it's nighttime. So the guy hears something. He has a shotgun, and he has like I don't know shotguns. Number 10 buckshot. He's got slugs.
Okay.
He's got some firepower. Whatever. I mean, he's in a room. He's indoors.
Okay.
But it's in a barn and it's dark. It is pitch black. And he thinks it's a black bear. So he empties it and he goes back in the house to get a flashlight and a knife.
Okay.
And he comes back out and he sees it moving. And he dives on it because his flashlight wouldn't work. He dives on it and sinks that knife just right behind the shoulder and into the bear. And they had to come out and like do an autopsy and like, oh yeah, you killed that bear with a knife, dude.
Whoa.
But anyways, other than that, pepper spray.
Yeah. Pepper spray. Which was kind of funny because we went on a little bit of a hike up in the South Fork.
Yeah.
And I realized I have a multi-tool. I didn't bring bear spray. I didn't do any. I forgot. But we're in a group. We have 5 people and a dog, and I thought, we'll be all right. I don't suspect grizzly here, but if there's more like Ethel, then I just want to be cautious.
Holy jeez, right?
But at the same time, I was like, I think we'll be all right, and we were. But that was for the. It's funny how
I would feel safer with a dog than with pepper spray and a gun.
Yeah,
especially after hearing what your dog does. I'd be just fine. I mean, she probably wouldn't even get hurt.
Yeah, no,
and you'd be fine. Yeah, yeah.
She would be a protect. She's a family dog.
But wolves, on the other hand, that's terrifying.
Yeah, I don't. In fact, we're not taking her to.
Because we see wolves,
or to the not South Fork, with the other place.
The other place. Okay, thank you for not saying it. Yeah. Well, I kind of bleeped it out. It's okay. This isn't live.
But I believe it's live. No.
Okay. Right.
What was I going to say though? I forgot something about the dog, but
that's all right.
It's gone to the catacombs of my neurological emptiness.
We're just at a place with the grizzly bear right now where they're going to have to return. They're going to have to return to Idaho. I don't know what the carrying capacity is because they're such a different creature. They did so well in California. They did so well in Utah.
Yeah.
Which is dry.
I think this is going to be a hard sell, but it's my thought pattern here.
Yeah.
With wildlife management, somehow we've got to get past the state borders and have a collective management wildlife program that is not about what state you're in some cases, because I don't know, just there's something about the land masses and how things go, and Montana's going to do this, but Idaho's going to do that. But
I like it.
But it's two. But now you have two different things.
I know. I like it. We need that. We need diversity. If we have a wolf plan or a grizzly plan that's not working, but if it's all the same plan and it is working or it isn't working, we might never know.
No, that's true.
I really like the diversity of plans. I really do like the diversity of plans because it's nice to see. I mean, I'm only going to hunt one state. What does it matter to me? But I like to see. I like to see, just the different management approaches. And what are they going to do in California or Colorado with the wolves?
Yeah,
that is going to be that's going to be a neat story. And what they did in Idaho is different than what they did in Montana. What they're doing now at the wolves is different than what we're doing in Montana. So we're just.
That's a very solid point. I kind of I'll redact what I just said because you're.
Okay.
I guess I thought I had a well thought out thought, but I didn't think it through.
No,
that was a really nice redundant statement. I just made.
My initial feeling would be the same.
Yeah,
but then I think
But I think you have to have more data points.
You do, and you have to have different perspectives, and you have all these different managers with all these different biologists. And it's just best to have input from all of them, because what you see in the education system, right? Too much federal oversight, and they're just stifled.
Yeah.
If it was up to the states, if the states were free to just do it, man, it would just be a different world. Anyway, all right.
So
I've already sold you on the point.
Yeah, you did a great
You've
job.
already apologized.
No, go ahead and add a tip on there.
Yeah. All right.
So grizzly bear is walking up behind some tourists at Glacier National Park. And this picture is crazy. I saw this last week. I don't know much about the story, but I have a quick question. Maybe it's just Ethel out for a sightseeing tour.
Yeah. I think I still have it saved on my phone. I watched Alaska brown bears fight.
Yeah.
2 boars. I mean, 1,000 pounds each.
Mm-hmm.
The way they approached each other, they're walking towards each other, right?
Yeah.
And the guide is filming. They just look like grizzlies fishing. Like they're just,
Yeah.
But the guy's like, oh, they're gonna fight. He can tell from their body posture, they're gonna fight. I don't know grizzly body posture. But I look at that picture
Yeah.
and they could be 1 second away from a lunge
Yeah.
that ends you.
Yeah. No, I.
And also, another point we've covered on this podcast before,
big bear.
dude. Another point we've talked about on this podcast before is, why is a grizzly bear on the trail?
Yeah.
It saves calories.
Yeah.
It's easier for bears to walk on trails. So you're going to see them on trails. When you see them on trails, get off the trail.
I'm horrified with these people. This is not the best picture, but you can see that they're scared.
Yeah, good. Because a grizzly bear, sometimes I've seen.
Jeez Louise.
I've watched nature documentaries my whole life, and I've loved every one of them. But watching some animals like trot, and you've seen this before, just trot past some antelope. This was in Africa, right? There's just some African antelope there, and this thing's just trotting past. Like it doesn't, like its body language says, I'm not hunting right now. So the antelope let him get close. And then boom, they just like lightning just go after him, and it's too late. It's a cool approach.
I came across something that I wasn't able to figure out how to hold over, but it was they were releasing a bear somewhere. I think it was a grizzly bear.
Yeah.
They were relocating or something because it was getting into stuff, but they released it, and when it takes off, the speed, and you've seen videos where they're releasing those bears.
Oh man.
And it's like, it's all fun and games, but they're very, very intentional with how to do it. In fact, there was a video out there of a fish and game officer that was trying to release, and
now it's by remote control. They don't have somebody on top of the culvert.
Yeah, it's not. It doesn't turn into Jurassic Park.
Those are culvert traps. It just so happens that a culvert trap. It's so easy to trap a grizzly bear in a culvert. You just put something dead in there and block the ends, and a grizzly bear will find that culvert, or just bears in general.
Okay.
They talk about it in the book because it's something man-made that is so good at catching grizzly bear that they just use a culvert and transfer it to a cage.
Okay.
They just modify normal culverts.
Wow.
And transfer it to a cage. They do have very specific traps, but when a grizzly bear gets in trouble, right? There's a duty to do it. And going back to that last point that you've already conceded, there's two different management plans for Yellowstone and Glacier for the grizzly bear.
Okay.
And it's interesting because you think Yellowstone, oh yeah, Yellowstone. What's Yellowstone doing? Yellowstone, trap and collar.
Yeah.
Let's get some data. Trap and collar. We know where the bears are. What are the bears doing? What about? Very cool. Glacier, we have a no touch policy.
Yeah.
You want to study the bears, get out there with a pair of binoculars. That's why they invented the genetics thing.
Okay.
That's why they created these, well, not invented. They created these ways to get more information on bears. And so we have these two approaches, and you're like, I like all the data, and I also like all the DNA. So it's interesting just to have those two approaches, and say, well, maybe once in a while when you do catch a bear, if you have to catch a bear, collar it.
Yeah.
But we're not gonna dart and traumatize and collar bears just for the sake of the data. So anyways, that was an interesting aside from Grizzly in the Driveway.
And it's all good stuff. Hey, did you put the Be Bear Aware?
Yes, I did.
I swear that I saw this too, and somehow
we both got it. Oh
no, I didn't post it, but
okay.
I'm pretty sure I saw this. So I was just like, I don't remember posting this, but that's okay. In the Prior Mountains,
yeah,
or maybe this was something I had. I don't know.
Well, just be bear aware.
Yeah, just be bear aware.
It doesn't have to be grizzly.
Yeah,
but you do want to be bear aware, and I would like to learn more about grizzly habitat, because the mountains, they talk about how much weight grizzlies can gain eating moths under rocks in the mountains.
Yeah.
And Utah.
Well, what was it? I can't remember which documentary. I swear it was
Planet Earth.
Planet Earth.
Yeah, they talked about it then.
They have the grizzlies up there.
At 12,000 feet.
Yeah.
Just flipping over rocks, eating moths all day long.
Yep.
Yeah. And so Utah has some really, really good terrain. Really, really good terrain. And anyways, I'd like to see the grizzly bears back in Utah and back in Colorado, and of course California.
Bring the state mascot back.
Yep.
It's on all your flags.
Responsible ecology demands the return of grizzly bears to California.
Yeah. Moose and Burley almost gets on interstate.
Yeah. I love an almost story. I love living in a place where an almost story makes headlines.
Yeah.
I love it. A moose almost gets on the highway. Ah, that's a happy story.
And the picture of the moose that you have in this article, it almost looks like the moose is yelling at somebody for cutting them off in traffic.
Hey, you know,
Hey.
those drivers from Declo.
Stay in your lane, buddy.
You know, those 4 drivers from Declo. I got pooped on by a bird once,
Ugh.
but only in Declo. It happened in Declo. Anyway.
Okay. We only have one more story here.
Yeah?
It has to do with it says here, years after tagging the largest typical elk ever killed with a bow, Steve Felix can still see his arrow hurling toward the bull's ribcage. That is an impressive bull there.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how many inches it is. I mean, obviously over 400.
Yeah.
But how many points on each side?
I'm trying to zoom in here.
Oh, okay.
My phone's being quirky. Stop it. And I don't. It's like super zooming now. I don't. Stop it.
Now there's just 7 pixels on my screen.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Okay.
Big 8 by 8.
Wow. Symmetry means a lot when you're talking about points. So if point 7 has fewer inches than 0.7 on the other side, you deduct.
Yeah, I think what's interesting though is
I think.
off the brow tine,
Yeah.
the next branch has a fork, which I have never seen before.
Wow. Wow. Oh, wow. Is it on the other side too, or can you tell?
I cannot tell from this
okay.
angle.
All right, so that's a world record. I'm not going for a world record. I'm happy with any elk that will answer my calling, come to my calling.
And then, end up on the other end of my arrow,
Yeah.
which hasn't happened yet for me.
Yeah.
But that bull last year,
Oh, geez. Oh, geez. Oh, how many days? 47?
47
days until elk season. I got a couple of epic hikes between now and then.
I'm not kicking myself. I'm disappointed, but it was such an amazing experience.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I wouldn't trade it for the yeah.
But it's
Wouldn't
so
trade it for the world.
It's so
Great.
informative
Yeah.
for the coming season.
Yeah. We were up at 4:30. We were on the trail early, son.
We were way
early.
up there. Way up there.
Early.
We were playing with the elk when everybody else was just getting to the
Just
trailhead.
pulling to the trailhead, man. You gotta get up early. It's okay to take a nap. Did I tell you I ordered a new hammock?
You did.
I don't know if I said it on the podcast.
You didn't say it on the podcast, but you did order a new
I
hammock.
ordered a new hammock and a new underquilt so that me and my son Ozzy can backpack together, or at least camp together. But, yeah, get up early. You can take your hammock and have a nap. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's a great place to have a nap. So,
Absolutely.
all right, we'll have some adventures to report back to you next week. We'll
next
have
week.
because
We're going to be scouting out our hunting area.
our elk our elk zone where we have. Do you have a tag yet? You got your sportsman's package.
I got
right?
my package.
Okay,
I don't have my
okay.
tags, but
Oh, okay.
I got my package.
I don't have my tags yet either. Yeah. Have you shot your bow? Nah, I haven't shot my bow.
Don't say
Yeah,
that.
I know
out
it's up. I know
loud.
it's up on a shelf somewhere. It's too hot to shoot now. Anyway, so yeah. Well, I want to get tuned up on the bow, and tuned up. I plan on starting some heavy cycling, some hour-long cycling, not leisurely.
Yeah.
With the intent of,
I was going to say something about getting ready. There was actually a guy who talks about the way he gets ready for elk hunting, and this I felt I felt conflicted.
Okay.
By what he said, because he said, "I stopped running to prepare for elk season long ago."
Oh, really?
And we know somebody who that's what they do now.
Yeah.
Who? The Michigan guy, John. He did marathons and stuff.
He mountain bikes.
He talked about running.
He said he did a marathon once because his wife did it. But
Oh, that's right.
mostly, yeah,
Okay.
he's like, my body can't take that anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I misremembered.
So, okay.
But yeah, no, it just go out and hike, do physical things that are more indicative of what did he say? Going to the. He said going. I can't remember. I think I'm misremembering.
Mimic elk season.
Yeah, mimic. Yeah, he said going running doesn't mimic going up and down a hill.
No, it doesn't.
He said I tried doing that, and when I would get out to elk season, it would still kick my butt.
Yeah. So we live in Southern Idaho has a lot of canyons. And so we have these trails down in the canyons, Rock Creek Canyon.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of trails out, and those trails are very steep.
Yeah.
And so I take my mountain bike down on the trail. Whenever there's a trail out, I pedal hard, I ride all the way to the top, and my heart is like pounding, like an elk season. Just screaming at me. And I turn around and I relax, and I go and I let my heart settle down. I get to the next one. Boom. And I climb up the next ramp. And that's my plan of attack for elk season, is to get out on my mountain bike and just attack those hills and do a lot of hills. And for an hour, 3 times a week, starting Monday until elk season. So we'll let you know. I also have a fitness competition coming up at the end of August, so that I'm also getting ready for.
We've got motivation.
So lots of stuff. And 47 days to do it in.
There you go.
Have a good week.
Cheers. Be well.
Goodbye.